about toxic load. And I didn't recognize the signs of toxic load as I was going through my life. So there is a section in my book of, do you have inflammation? Because that's where to start. The first thing that bothered me was my deodorant. Some deodorants started to make me rash. Other deodorants started to make me blister. But I seemed to be having a big reaction to deodorants and finding one that didn't bother my body, which was less toxic. I didn't know what that meant to my body. But I knew that I researched and I found something that was relatively chemical free. Then my mascara started to bother me. My eyes were getting itchy and red. And so I started with hypoallergenic. That didn't seem to make a difference. So I looked a long time to find a mascara that didn't bother me. Then, at the time, I was a store manager for a department store, and when I would go into my cosmetic department, I would have a terrible time breathing because of the fragrance in the department. So that was another sign. And I call these little slaps on the face, like NCIS, where my body was telling me something, but I wasn't recognizing what was going on. The next clue was bigger. This is where I got really slapped on the side of the head. I woke up one morning and my lips and my tongue were swollen, and through a series of elimination, I figured out that that was from my fabric softener. So when I eliminated fabric softener, I wasn't having that problem where I was, and that could have been dangerous. That was a dangerous reaction. So the last step of all of this was that I woke up in terrible pain. So it's something that accumulates over time. But one of the things I talk about in the book is you don't want to wait until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Every toxin you eliminate is one step closer to being healthy. And it's a different definition than what we've thought about as healthy. Yes, it's important to do all the other things that we do for health. Certainly it's important to be a runner or to do the exercise or the protein shakes. That's all part of it. But making sure that all of those things are building the body in the right way. You have to start thinking about your body as a machine that wants to keep you healthy if you give it the right building tools. And we don't. We're eating fast food that's all chemicals. We're eating processed food that's all chemicals. We're eating food that's sprayed with pesticides and with herbicides. And I didn't really understand GMOs. There's two different ways that they're making genetically modified foods. One is to actually insert something called a Bt toxin right into the food. So we're eating the toxin, and what this toxin does is when the insect eats it, it makes the insect's tummy explode. Yucky. Guess what it's doing in our guts? It's making our good bugs' tummies explode. So that's all causing havoc. And then the other thing that they do is make crops Roundup ready. Roundup is glyphosate. The state of California just decided that they're going to add it to its Proposition 65 list of things that are probable carcinogens. And I would imagine that this means there's going to have to be some labeling on anything that has glyphosate in it that it could cause cancer. Monsanto's trying to fight the state of California on this, but it started with the World Health Organization that came out and stated that glyphosate is actually a probable carcinogen. All right, so where is glyphosate? It's being sprayed on all our food. And on Roundup Ready, it's being doused in all of this glyphosate. So what happens with our wheat, if it's not organic, right before it's harvested, it is doused in amazing quantities of glyphosate, which never gets washed off, and then it goes and gets processed with all of that stuff on it. And the reason that they douse it with all of that glyphosate is it makes the plant suddenly give it a bigger amount of wheat for them to process. The plant actually gives more to increase the harvest. So all of that's going into all our food, and that means it's going into our bodies. And glyphosate does a variety of things. One of the things that it does is it is cleating the good minerals out of our earth so that the plant isn't getting all the minerals. So suddenly, as a population, we're very low in critical things like magnesium, which is responsible for 320 different enzyme reactions in our bodies. But beyond that, not only are we not getting the same amounts of great minerals that we need, But when this glyphosate goes into our gut, it's blocking us from absorbing the magnesium we did get and cleaning it out of the body. So it's a double whammy. So now, if you don't eat GMOs, that's great. You get rid of those things. But our crops in general, our conventional crops, are also being sprayed with tremendous amounts of heavy herbicides and pesticides. And if somebody could convince me that it's good that I eat this stuff, then I'll go back to conventional food. But in the meantime, I am eating organic. Now, first thing people say to me is eating organic is expensive. And that's true. But I sort of look at it that you either pay now or you pay later, because your healthcare costs at the end of this are going to be so significant, it's going to be worth it for you to eat organic up front. There is a way for you to get started. There is something called a Dirty Dozen Clean 15 list that EWG, Environmental Working Group, the database that I found all of this incredible information in. They publish it every year. And the Dirty Dozen now is a list of 18 items, so much for 12, because they couldn't leave the last 4 off. And if it's on the Dirty Dozen, it has so much chemical on it that you shouldn't buy it under any circumstance if it's not organic. Things are on there like strawberries. Sorry. So if it's on the Dirty Dozen, that's where you start to buy organic. If it's on the Clean 15, which is the other side of the coin, it doesn't matter if you buy organic. So that's where you can save your money. And then there's a whole world in between.
What are some things on the Clean 15? You mentioned one of the dirty dozens was...
Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Because I need to know about this. She's talking about some strawberries. Strawberries is on the dirty side? Strawberry?
They're number one.
On the dirty side?
On the dirty side.
Oh,
spinach.
My God.
I love
on the
spinach.
Dirty side?
On the these are on the dirty side. Yeah, you asked for the clean one. Let me give you the dirty ones first.
Okay.
Strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples. They're also genetically modifying apples, so apples need to be organic. Peaches, pears, cherries, grapes. They're even finding glyphosate in all our wine in California. Tomatoes, celery, sweet bell peppers, potatoes. Potatoes have something like 65 pesticides on them if they're not organic. Cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, lettuce, imported snap peas, domestic blueberries, and hot peppers. If it's on the Clean 15, here's where you can knock yourself out. Sweet corn, avocados, pineapples, cabbage, onions, sweet peas, papayas, asparagus, mangoes, eggplant, honeydew melon, kiwi, cantaloupe, cauliflower, and grapefruit.
All right, hold on 1 second.
I know.
So
I made up these. If you can see this is a cute little card I made. I'm a health coach. I made these up as a purse card for my clients because I could never remember what was on which list. So I made these up to carry around.
Oh my goodness. So on the dirty side, what are you saying? We have to, if we don't buy organic, we're doing ourselves a major injustice?
Yes. If you don't buy organic, you are allowing your body to get bombarded with tremendous amounts of pesticides and herbicides, which then will eventually erode that wall in your gut and put you on a track for chronic illness.
Okay, all right. Here's what I know a lot of our listeners are they're wondering right now.
Okay.
To our understanding, not everything that they put on the container or the package that says organic is organic. Is that true?
Yes and no. There are there are regulations that are not keeping it clean, but if it says certified organic, it's organic.
So it has to say certified organic. Right.
And I buy a lot of my produce at my local farmers market. I walk around and ask them, are they certified? And they are not always. But then I ask them, what are they doing about bugs? Are they spraying it with heavy toxic chemicals? Are they using Roundup? And they're not. So you have to start to ask and get involved.
You about to make me cry, Cheryl.
Why?
Because I know that I'm not looking. I think, and this is very silly of me, but if I eat a vegetable, if I see a vegetable or a fruit, I'm just going to eat a vegetable and fruit, and I'm thinking I'm doing a great job because it's a vegetable and a fruit.
Right. Well, it's better than not eating a vegetable and a fruit. But it would be better if it was an organic vegetable or fruit, so that it's also not coming with the downside of the crud that's on it. If it's a choice between a fast food hamburger and a vegetable and a fruit, whoa, even if it's not organic, go with the vegetable and the fruit. It's a matter of degrees. But the best, it's sort of like good, better, worst, or whatever it is, the best is if you're buying it organic in the first place.
So it's like the penthouse.
It's like the penthouse.
We're in the building,
right?
But we want to get to the penthouse.
And to add to that, if you want optimum health, you want to buy organic produce in all the colors of the rainbow from as local a source as possible. And I know that's really hard on the East Coast in the winter. So then you buy organic frozen vegetables so that you're still getting the advantage of the different colors. Because each color, which I had no idea, has a different gift that it gives to your body. So you want to keep all the colors in your diet so that you're really giving all the right building blocks so that you can live long and thrive.
Okay, I want to talk to you about that comment that you made about children dying younger, but I also, since we're on this vegetable thing and you're crushing a lot of our, you're challenging. I know some people's listening to this and they're going through their refrigerator now and making a change, but you might as well just talk to us for a second. I know these canned vegetables, I know that's probably horrible, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. You can buy organic canned vegetables. There is something called BPA in canned goods, and you want to avoid that because those are estrogens. We have a grocery store here in Los Angeles called Sprouts. I don't know if they're national or not, but they've made a commitment that if it's under their label, they're BPA free. Whole Foods has started to put BPA free on a lot of their canned goods. So then you're not getting the disadvantage of that estrogen inducing chemical, which is why our girls are starting to go into puberty a lot earlier than they were in my generation. They're going into puberty as early as 8 and 9, whereas that was not normal when I was young. And that's all caused by all of these extra estrogen things that are in our foods and our canned goods, and they're in more things than that. But so yes, can you eat canned goods, but make sure that BPA free is on the can.
BPA free. Oh man! And you're saying that's how these kids are getting more developed.
That's why kids are getting more developed. Again, it's all because of toxins.
So that's not good.
Oh, no, it's not good.
So these young girls and young boys getting developed way faster than we are, we're looking at them like, oh, wow, look, whoa. But that's not good.
There, in the last 2 months, so this is not in my book, there have been studies that within the next, I think, 40 years, we're killing off our sperm in our males through all these chemicals. And
what do you mean?
That sperm counts are getting lower. And the younger the boy or the man, the less sperm count is in his sperm. So it's eventually going to cause a problem with even our reproduction.
Yeah.
So these chemicals are a problem on a multitude of levels, and it's not just what's going onto our food, it's what's going into our ground, which means it's going into our water, which means it's going into our rivers, so it's starting to kill the life in our rivers, and then it washes into the ocean, and it's starting to kill our life in our ocean, and eventually this is not sustainable. So
what type of diet do you have?
What do? I eat I believe in eating at least 50 to 75% of my plate is vegetables or fruit. I am diabetic, which is now also considered an autoimmune disease. And so I don't eat a lot of sugary fruits, but I do eat berries, so they're organic berries. And then I eat lots of different colors of vegetables. I'm like I'm in California, I can get them year round. And then whether or not you eat meat